Chapter 10 from The Wizard of Oz, The Guardian at the Gate. It took a long time for the lion to finally wake up, but when he did, he was very happy to be alive. "I ran as fast as I could," he said, "but the flowers were too powerful, and I just fell asleep." "How did you get me out of the field?" The others explained about how the field mice had helped to rescue him. The Cowardly Lion laughed. "I have always thought of myself as big and powerful, but such delicate things like flowers almost killed me, and such tiny creatures like mice have saved my life. How strange it is." Then Dorothy said to the group that she thought it was time to find the yellow brick road once more and continue to walk to the Emerald City. They all walked through the grass and soon found the yellow brick road once again. The road was smooth now, and they made good progress. The country around them was beautiful. They seemed to be out of danger. The travelers noticed that now all the fences were painted green. They saw that houses were green too, and people who lived in those houses were dressed in green clothing. "We must be now in the land of Oz," said Dorothy presently. "Yes," said the Scarecrow. "It is no longer like the blue in Munchkin Land. People seem to be less friendly, too." Dorothy mentioned that they needed a place to stop for the night. They approached a farmhouse, and Dorothy walked up to the front door and knocked. A woman opened the door slightly and asked, "What do you want, child? And why do you have a lion with you?" Dorothy said they needed a place to stay overnight. She also said the lion was very tame and a friend of hers. She mentioned as well that the lion was a great coward. The woman seemed to believe her and offered for the group to come in and have supper and to spend the night. The company entered the house where they met two children and a man who had hurt his leg and was lying on the couch. The man was very surprised to see the group and asked where they were bound. When they said they were going to the Emerald City to see Oz, the man on the couch expressed doubts. "You see," he said, "the Great Oz never permits anybody to see him. I have been to the Emerald City many times, and it is beautiful, but nobody is permitted to see the Great Wizard of Oz. I know many who have tried, and it is impossible to see him." The man went on, "You see, the wizard can take on any form he would like. Sometimes he is a bird. Sometimes he is an elephant or a fairy or a cat." "That is very strange," said Dorothy. "But we must try to see the wizard, or we will have made our journey for nothing." "Why do you need to see the terrible Oz?" asked the man. "I need for him to give me some brains," declared the Scarecrow. "Well, he could do that easily," said the man. "He has more brains than he needs." "And I want for him to give me a heart," said the Tin Woodman. "That would be easy for Oz. He has a large collection of hearts of all different sizes," said the man. "I want him to give me courage," said the Cowardly Lion. "That's easy," said the man. "Oz has a great big pot of courage in his throne room, which he covers with a gold lid so it doesn't run over." "I want him to send me back to Kansas," said Dorothy. "Where is Kansas?" asked the man. "I don't know," replied Dorothy sadly, "but it is my home, and I know it's somewhere. I'm sure that Oz could help you find where it is, but it is hard to see him, for he does not like for anybody to see him." Then the woman called the group to come and eat supper. The meal was porridge, scrambled eggs, and white bread. Dorothy enjoyed her meal, and so did Toto and the lion, but the Scarecrow and the Tin Woodman did not eat. After the supper, the group were allowed to go to sleep for the night. In the morning, they all set out again and noticed a green glow in the distance. They must be getting quite close to the Emerald City. They walked on, and the green glow became brighter and brighter. By the afternoon, they finally arrived at the outer wall of the city. the wall was bright green, and it was high and thick. At the end of the yellow brick road was a big green gate, which was studded with brilliant green emeralds. There was a button to press, and Dorothy pressed it and heard the ringing of a bell inside the gate. The big gate slowly swung open, and the group walked through into a high arched room with walls laced with beautiful emeralds. In front of them stood a man about the size of a munchkin. He was dressed completely in green, and even his skin was greenish in color. At his side was a large green box. He said to them, "What do you wish in the Emerald City?" "We came here to see the great Oz," replied Dorothy. The man was so surprised at this, he had to sit down for a while to think it over. "It has been many years since anyone has asked me to see the great Oz," he admitted. "He is powerful and terrible, and if you come to ask him a foolish question, he might get angry and destroy all of you in an instant." "But it is not a foolish errand," said the Scarecrow. "It is important, and we have been told that Oz is good and wise." "So he is," said the Green Man, "and he rules the city wisely and well. But to those who are not honest, or who are merely curious, he can be most terrible, and very few have ever asked to see his face. I am the guardian of the gate, and it is I who must take you to his palace. But first, you must put on the spectacles." Spectacles are glasses. "Why?" asked Dorothy. "Because if you don't put them on," replied the Green Man, "the brightness and the glory of the Emerald City would blind you. Everyone who lives here wears the glasses night and day. They are locked on. Oz has ordered it so ever since the city was built. Only I have the key to unlock people's glasses." He opened the big green box, and Dorothy saw it was filled with green spectacles of all different sizes. He found a pair that would fit her, and she put them on. There were 2 golden bands attached to the glasses which fit around to the back of her head, and the guardian took his key and locked the glasses onto Dorothy's head. At this, Dorothy realized that she could not take off the glasses even if she wished to, but she did not want to become blinded, so she didn't mind that they were locked on. Then the Green Man fitted green glasses for the Scarecrow and the Lion and the Tin Woodman, and even for Toto the dog. All the glasses were locked on with the key. Then the Green Guardian put on his own glasses and told them he was ready to show them to the palace. Taking a big golden key from a hook on the wall, he opened another gate, and they all followed him through onto the streets of the Emerald City. End of chapter 10. Here are the activities for students to take part in. This first is just a coloring page, and it can be done merely for fun. One instruction says, "Color the big gate too," so probably green. Exercise 2, make some green Emerald City glasses and do the activities below. So they can tint the lens here in some sort of green. Color the items that should be green, very simple here. List 5 things that are green, normally green. How to say green in these languages, so French, German, Spanish, Italian, Albanian, and Arabic. It can be written phonetically if the alphabet is different. Color this lizard. Try to use 2 to 3 different shades of green. You can use other colors too. It's kind of nice to have shading and different depths of one color. It looks lovely. Exercise 2 is reading comprehension. And it's divided into, like, one question has one answer to begin with, but then it kind of expands. So question 1 has to do with sections 1 and 2, selections 1 and 2. You go back and reread it and then answer the question accordingly. Now it's for number 2, read selections 3 and 4, and then there are 4 fill in the blanks. For number 3, 2 fill in the blanks with selections 5 to 7, then selections 8 to 10. For example, it says, "What part of the body had the man hurt?" So you'd have to read those sections to know that. Dorothy told the woman that the lion was a coward. That means he is, and then you use a synonym for coward. The man was lying down on wet furniture. It's in there. Question 5. There are a few questions here. And it says which selection to read. Same with 6 and 7, 8, and 9 is selections 23 to 24. And on it goes. It goes all the way down to selections 34 to 36, which is the end of the chapter. And then there's a fun little picture there. You can separate students into groups. So, for example, you could have one group of students doing perhaps selection or question 1, and then down here, section 7. So they'd be in charge of that. Another group will be doing, say, 2 and 8 and such and such. So then they can share their answers with the class by reading what's there and what they found to be the answer. So that way it can be shared with the larger group to practice reading and to make sure that the answers are correct and to help the others with their answers. Well, I hope this was helpful, and we will see you for chapter 11 later.